Hi friends, how are you today?
We're
Thank you.
fine. Thank you.
What are you doing nowadays in quarantine?
Sleep.
Just laying in bed.
Just playing games or only studying or watching movies? What else? Ahmet Khan, Ahmet Khan, do you play game?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, I wonder something. Have you ever read any short story? No?
I
Yeah,
don't remember.
probably.
Okay. Now today we are going to read one. Uh, it's called The Story of an Hour. It's written by Kate Choplin, and we will talk about it. Let me share my screen. This is our story. Now we will read it, and by the time we read, I want you to write these words down, the thick words. Who wants to start with it? With the first, you can read.
I can start.
Okay.
Knowing that Mr. Mullard was afflicted with a heart trouble, great care was taken to break to her as gently as possible the news of her husband's death. It was her sister Josephine who told her in broken sentences, veiled hints that revealed in half concealing. Her husband's friend Richards was there too, near her. It was he who had been in the newspaper office when intelligence of railroad disaster was received. With Bradley Mullard's name leading the list of killed, he had only taken the time to assure himself of its truth by a second telegram, and he had
Hazen.
hastened to forestall any less careful, less tender friend in bearing the sad message. She did not hear the story as many women have heard the same, with a paralyzed inability to accept its significance. She wept at once, with sudden, wild abandonment, in her sister's arms. When the storm of grief had spent itself, she went away to her room alone. She would have no one follow her.
Okay, Ahmet Khan. Anyone?
There stood, facing the open window, a comfortable, roomy armchair. She sank, pressed down by a physical exhaustion that haunted her body and seemed to reach into her soul. She could see in the open square before her house the tops of trees that were all aquiver with the new spring life. The delicious breath of rain was in the air. In the street below a peddler was crying his wares. The notes of a distant song which someone was singing reached her faintly, and countless sparrows were twittering in the eaves. There were patches of blue sky showing here and there, though, in the clouds that had met and piled one above the other, and west facing her window.
Okay, can anyone else? Who wants to read?
I can read it. She sat with her head thrown back upon the cushion of the chair, quite motionless, except when a sob came up into her throat and shook her, as a child who has cried itself to sleep continues to sob in its dream.
We can keep going.
She was young, with a fair, calm face, whose lines bespoke repression and even a certain strength. But now there was a dull stare in her eyes, whose gaze was fixed away off yonder on one of those patches of blue sky. It was not a glance of reflection, but rather indicated a suspension of
Suspension.
intelligent thought.
Okay. Anyone? Any other one?
I can continue.
Okay, Eren.
There was something coming to her, and she was waiting for it, fearfully. What was it? She did not know. It was too subtle and elusive to name, but she felt it, creeping out of the sky, reaching toward her through the sounds, the scents, the color that filled the air. Now her bosom rose and fell tumultuously. She was beginning to recognize this thing that was approaching to possess her, and she was striving to beat it back with her will, as powerless as her two white slender hands would have been. When she abandoned herself, a little whispered word escaped her slightly parted lips. She said it over and over under the breath. Free, free, free. The, the, the
The vacant.
vacant stare, and the look of the terror that had followed it went from her eyes. They stayed keen and bright. Her pulses beat fast, and the coursing blood warmed and relaxed every inch of her body.
Okay, anyone else? Emine or Murat? You are here.
I can read it.
Okay.
She did not stop to ask if it were or were not a monstrous joy that held her. A clear and exalted perception enabled her to dismiss the suggestion as trivial. She knew that she would weep again when she saw the kind, tender hands folded in death, the face that had never looked save with love upon her fixed and grey and dead. But she saw beyond that bitter moment a long procession of years to come that would belong to her absolutely, and she opened and spread her arms out to them in welcome.
Okay,
There
keep
would be
going.
no one to live for during the sorry.
No, keep going.
There would be no one to live for during those coming years. She would live for herself. There would be no powerful will bending hers, and that blind persistence with which men and women believe they have a right to impose a private will upon a fallen creature. A kind intention or a cruel intention made the act seem no less a crime as she looked
Upon it. She looked.
upon it in that brief moment of illumination.
Okay, anyone else? Who wants to move on?
I can read it. And yet she had loved him sometimes. Often she had not. What did it matter? What could love, the unsolved mystery, count for the face of this possession of self-assertion, which she suddenly recognized as the strongest impulse of her being? Free, body and soul, free, she kept whispering. Josephine was kneeling before the closed door with her lips to the keyhole, imploring for admission. Louis, open the door. I beg, open the door. You will make yourself ill. What are you doing, Louis? For heaven's sake, open the door. Go away. I'm not making myself ill. No, she was drinking a very elixir of life through that open window.
Okay, can you move on?
Okay, her fancy was running riot along those days ahead of her, spring days and summer days, and all sorts of days that would be her own. She breathed a quick prayer that life might be long. It was only yesterday she had thought with a shudder that life might be long. She arose at length and opened the door to her sister's importunities. There was a feverish triumph in her eyes.
Triumph.
Triumph, okay. And she carried herself unwittingly like a goddess of victory. She clasped her sister's waist, and together they descended the stairs. Richard stood waiting for them at the bottom.
At the bottom, someone was opening the front door with a latchkey. It was Brent Miller who entered, a little travel-stained, compositely carrying his gripsack and an umbrella. He had been far from the scene of the accident and didn't even know there had been one. He stood amazed at Josephine's piercing cry, at Richard's quick motion to screen him from the view of his wife. When the doctors came, they said she had died of heart disease, of the joy that kills. It's our story, and the words are here. Our first word is afflicted. Do you know the meaning or the synonym of it, the close meaning of it? An idea?
She's suffering from a disease.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Afflicted means suffering from something, a disease. Our second word is veiled. What?
Kind of like revealed, I think.
What?
Like revealed.
Yeah, no. It's like you cover something, not reveal, cover something.
It's opposite of.
Yeah. Uh, and the conceal,
Hide.
yeah, hide. You are saying something, but you are not saying the truth for 100%. It's that. Hide something, not saying the truth. Hastened. Hastened is the other word.
Uh,
Accelerating?
Yeah, sped up. Speed up, more quicker. It means that. And forestall means what?
to prevent something.
Yeah, you're right. It means prevent. And peddler.
I think it's a pillow.
No.
No, it's not pillow.
A peddler means coaster, and this means like in my hometown, Salih abi, he's a lahmacun seller, but he's not working in a restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah, he's traveling with his wooden car full of lahmacuns, and it's very delicious and cheap. But he's
so
not
it's
working.
like coaster.
Yeah. It's like
Coaster.
coaster also. Yeah, you're right. And the cushion. Who wants to say the meaning?
So like
That's
soft
pillow.
pillow.
Yeah, pillow. It's mean pillow, right? Sob, sub, actually.
It's a hiccup.
Hiccup?
Yeah, hiccup. When you start to cry, after some time you start the sob and hiccuping, like droning. And bosom. What does bosom means?
Chest area.
Yeah, chest. Here. You're you're here. Chest.
Yeah.
And the other word is striving. Strive. Word means what? You are striving to do something. And what was
Struggling?
Struggling.
yeah, you are struggling to do something. Exalted.
Supreme?
Yes, it means supreme. Exalted means supreme. And the next word is trivial. Any idea of that?
A challenge, maybe.
Uh, it's insignificant, actually, unimportant, trivial. Yeah, unimportant things also used for trivial. And the other words are here. Imploring, implore.
Is it like begging?
Yeah, imploring is actually like begging. You're right. And also here we can see I beg. Who is open door? I beg open door. You will make yourself feel. Blah blah blah. Other word is triumph.
Victory.
Yeah, victory. We can also see this word in games like Age of Mythology, Age of Empires, victory and triumph. Ahmet Kan, you're right. And the last word is gripsack.
It's
I-
like a luggage, hand luggage.
Luggage. Yeah, it's a hand luggage. It's smaller than a luggage. It's not as heavy as heavy as a luggage. It's all, guys. First of all, thanks for your both attention and participation. And I want to check the list. I think some of you are absent. Ayşe Köse, Fatma Gamze Yazar, Nisa Yağmurpınar, and Gözenur Aktaş are absent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you have an homework for next week. You need to make sentences with these words we learned today. It's all, guys.
Okay.
Thanks for your attention and participation. Again, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.